Greetings, Malika. How are you? Child, I am trying to reassess myself because I ain't never wanted to beat up a genome so fucking bad. So badly. I want to beat this bitch up. And that's what happens when people think that you can't find them or they think that you don't know who they are for real. You know what I'm saying? Girl, Malika, this fucking genome. She works for the girl that I said do some of the different work to help you get into some things. So apparently she's her assistant. And I'm thinking like the girl who does do the shit, I'm like, she must be bipolar. Cause some days, first of all, that's why people only communicate via text message. You understand what I'm saying? So this whole time, except for the other day, I'm thinking she must be bipolar because some days she's super kind and nice, and then some days she's like short and dismissive and kind of like aggressive and talking to you like you're stupid. And I'm like, I keep like, listen, I'm trying to understand. So finally, the other day, she said, "This is not her. This is Summer." And I'm like, "Oh." So our conversation keeps going, and I'm like, "Are you upset about something?" So then her demeanor changed. Oh no, ma'am, I'm just trying to understand. Like, oh, okay. So today, when this situation occurred, I'm not even gonna go into it, but when this situation occurred, I'm like, listen, I've dealt with a different company before that I've dealt doing something similar to this. And they were white people. And I said they had they shit all the way together. I don't understand what is the problem right now. She say, I am white and you racist against your own people. The level of boiling that I still am right now, like this bitch was talking to me really reckless, and the other chick she reached out like, well, what's happening? I explained to her because she only again talks through via text messages and inboxes. But listen, I will never ever. She gonna say the genome gonna say, I'll be glad when the process is done with you because I'll be glad when it's done too. I promise you I do. I'm glad when it's done too. I'll never refer nobody else over there. Never. Never. Sometimes people will fuck up your own business for you because they don't know how to talk. Why? Because it ain't their business. And I'm realizing you think you can talk to me like that because you think I'm a black woman and you think you can talk to me like that. I'll stump a mud hole in this bitch. I promise. Like to Tetron, go take care of business because um like I told her, I don't know why she keep talking to me like this. She was like, ain't nobody ever said she was rude. You know the fuck this bitch is nasty. Knock it the fuck off. We went back and forth earlier. I'm keep telling her I need this because they keep telling me I need this. You don't need that. I already sent you all the directions on what you need to do. And I've done it. And I keep telling you that I've done this. Oh, well, you supposed to be using this right here. Okay, but that's what I was fucking asking you originally. And I still need this of what I'm asking you for. I'm so confused on why you confused. I don't understand what you're not understanding. So then I say, she said, oh, well, send me a screenshot. So I sent her, okay, well, now click that and send me a screenshot. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, here it is right here. Let me just give it to you. Because dumb genome bitch, that's what the fuck I was asking for in the beginning. I said, wow, okay. That's what happens when genomes think they fucking smart, bro. So now we got a whole different situation where I'm telling her, like, I'm just confused on, what is the secret here? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm telling you what I need to take care of, and you telling me that you busy. I don't give a fuck. Well, I'll just do it for you, and I'll have it done by the end of the workday at 5:30. 5:30, bitch, it's 2 something. I need this done. Okay, but you trying to bully me, and I ain't getting ready to do what you want. And if the facts still remain, bitch, who you talking to? I'm telling you. She thinks she can't be found, bitch. Bitch, you're in Cincinnati. You can be found, bitch. I'm telling you. Nobody's going to keep talking. No fucking genome. I'm telling you. People better relax, bro. People better fucking relax, bro. Now her boss telling me something. I ain't never known nobody. I'll take care of it. I'll make sure everything. Yes. But I'll never recommend nobody else. You know how much money this genome that stopped on your fucking business? I'll never recommend nobody else. Never. And if anybody asks me what was my experience, I'm going to make sure I tell them. It's been problem after problem because of her. Anytime I'm dealing with the owner of the business, you know what I'm saying? It goes just a little bit smoother. Just a little bit smoother. But anytime this raggedy mouth bitch comes into the picture, it's a fucking problem. Bro. So then the boss tell me, like, I've been in meetings with big bosses all day. I said, I am a big boss. And your assistant keeps talking to me like I'm a peon, and I'm over that. Because it's never that. And I fucking mean that. This bitch is not going to keep talking to me like that. I'm telling, listen, I'm just trying to be cool, bro. So I can get my business taken care of. She talking about some, I don't even have to help. But you don't even have to breathe. You understand me? You don't even have to fucking breathe, bro. Because I don't know who the fuck this genome bitch is talking to. I promise you. I promise you. I don't. You are the fucking help. You hear me? Fuck you talking to, bro. Girl, I had a good day up until me having to deal with this bitch. Then I had to calm down and relax. My day was okay again. And then I had to deal with this bitch again. And this was the result. Like, bitch, I will walk you down slow until I find you, bitch. And then somebody will knock your motherfucking head off. Or I will knock your motherfucking head off. Because the genome is not what the fuck I'm going to play with. Talking to me any motherfucking way. Like, bitch. She was like, I'll review all of the conversations when anytime I'm talking to this bitch. Like, she keeps doing it like who the fuck are you talking to? I said, oh, is this Summer? Yes, it is. It's me. Bitch. Because you got on some false lashes and you fucking black dick, I will knock your fucking kufi off. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I am telling you. I'm not getting ready to play with this bitch, but that's not what I came on here for. I just needed to get that the fuck out. Because these bitches be trying me. They be trying me, Yehuda. I'm telling you. Be trying me, bitch. Now, for all of the miscellaneous comments about the girl who feel like she should get a full refund when everybody knows deposits are not refundable, especially when you miss your session. Listen, save your fucking comments. I don't give a fuck. I promise you I don't give a fuck. I promise you I don't give a fuck about what you're talking about. Can I book at your motherfucking hair salon? and send in money and then come and tell you I changed my mind after my appointment time and you give me all my money back. Do that sound fucking reasonable to you? If you are in a different country, you thought it was ever my motherfucking place to go get a calling card to call you? Bitch, is you stupid? Is you stupid? You got to fucking be. You got to be. Got to be. Motherfuckers better motherfuckers better get their fucking life together, bro. I've been talking to Tetron all day. I want him to go see this junkie bitch because I don't give a fuck who she is. I want him to go see this junkie bitch because I don't give a fuck who she is. Yeah, she keeps talking about something. I reached out to you on PayPal on the 26th. PayPal. But then on the 30th, you decided to send me an email in my business email the day after your appointment. Bitch, you sound stupid. You sound stupid. Somebody said, her phone is on. Yes, because she needed the money, bitch, to go pay her fucking phone bill, bitch. Because her phone was not the fuck on. Yeah. Send it all the way to this bitch doorstep. Both of these hoes. I don't have fucking time for it. And I don't give a fuck about what nobody else's opinion and what the fuck you got to say about it, bitch. And I don't. And I fucking don't. I promise you. So somebody has sent me a few videos today after our discussion with Yehuda last night about Marie Laveau and Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner. A few people have told me, like, asked me, like, have you ever watched Dane Calloway? And I'm like, no, but people keep bringing me his name. Now, when they first said Dane Calloway, I thought they was talking about this genome that's a comedian. And his name is something similar to that, like Dane something. I thought it was Dane Calloway. I don't know. And I'm like, no, I've never, I didn't even know he was doing anything because I'm still thinking it's a genome. And so somebody was like, yeah, he talks about the stuff you talk about. And I'm like, oh, it's the melanite. Like, oh. So last night somebody had said that he said something similar. Excuse me. That he had said something similar. And I'm like, oh shit. So then they sent me a video today. So I watched the video. It's like an hour and something. I think I had like maybe 20 minutes or so left in it. I didn't get to finish watching it, but I watched the majority of it. And so he basically was saying the same thing, that she's not a fact. He's saying she doesn't exist and the pictures are not real. I've never thought that was the real person in that picture of Harriet Tubman. I'll pull up the picture I'm speaking of because they have several different pictures of these ladies that look different. And I've never thought that any of them was them. Um, I've now come to the conclusion that I can't believe shit that these people say. Okay. I'll put my glasses on. I need a nap before this show tonight. Make sure y'all tuning in. So these are the photos. Let me go back from them. These are the photos of Harriet Tubman. Hey, how they get all these pictures of Harriet Tubman that was a slave, that was moving slaves, that was undocumented? How? Like how? In the movie, they don't really go into all of that. Said she was an American abolitionist. Then they say, like, who was taking these photos of Harriet? Because I know some people feel like they have the answer. Please, I'm willing to listen. Who took these pictures? That's what I would like to know. They had her pose. This was in between her moving slaves. Cause see, these are generational photos. See, they keep going. Young, old, young, old, young, old, real the fuck old. Like who took these? Now, said she was born into slavery. Tubman escaped and subsequently made some 13 missions. 13 missions back and forth. Child, let me get some gloss up on my lips. Back and forth. Moving over 700 slaves, as we spoke about last night. Right? Was they like, Harriet, Harriet, over here. Say cheese, minty, alimenta, whatever the fuck. I am over this shit. Like, what paparazzi was out there taking pictures? When? What? Like, was she like who took these? Come on, come on. There's paparazzi. Okay. No. Wait a minute. There was some more pictures. I just wanna get a better understanding because hey, she was a slave, right? And she was a slave, but when did she become the abolitionist, right? These are good ass clothes, right? Them is good clothes. Good clothes, good furniture behind her. Okay. Now this is the one. This is the one right here. Most famous slave ever. Um, Now Will Smith got a movie coming out where he plays the one man who has the whips on his back. Did you see the pictures of? Yes, that. But it's this one. This is the one. Can I? Will it turn? Will it turn for me? Ooh, this the one right here. Amen. No, come on now. Now that's supposed to be Harriet right there. This the one. That's supposed to be Harriet Minty right there. Hey, that's supposed to be her. Ain't that her too though? On the same picture at the end, she had a twin. Hey, because this is the end, right? Because that's supposed to be Harriet right there with her head down, right? But this lady, ain't that the lady from the pictures I just showed you though? Wait, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. It looks like her to me. That kind of look like her, don't it? Maybe they was twins. I don't know. Um, ain't these clothes good clothes too? I just want to understand. 68 or 69 those pictures was taken. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Latita, keep listen. Don't do it. That's Harriet. She can look like ET. She can look like ET. My thing is, what kind of foolishness and lies? Okay, here's the upcoming. I dropped my goddamn phone so many times today. Look, it didn't broke. Kept dropping it. Here's the colored one. This is the colored one. That's in full spectrum. I'm just trying to understand. You feel bad for saying it, but you felt it too. Listen, I'm just trying to understand how. And they throw, see, when they implement religion, then they throw it in there so it'll be believable because she was passing out, she kind of had narcolepsy, she would go into these spells. Okay. She would go into these spells, and when she go into these spells, because that's what they called them. Am I lying? Mm. Spells. Why would they call them that? When she went into these spells, the spirit, it was never Jesus. It was never Jesus. Hello. It was never Jesus. She went into these spells when the spirit, because they needed you to believe it. When the spirit spoke to her and guided her, told her which way to go. Every documentary you've seen, not on her, but on different slaves, nobody was ever able to escape and get away. Tell me why. Tell me why nobody was ever able to escape and get away during slavery. Let me Google this. While y'all get that out, let me Google this real quick. I'm going to. Because slavery was told in reverse. Body hopping is not new. No, it's not. Okay. It didn't happen the way it was taught. Oh, gratitude, Rico. Because they were being tricked into believing they were, but okay. Because it's a lie, because they weren't slaves. It never happened. People didn't know they were slaves. Okay. You say it seems she and Frederick Douglass did. Okay. Sellouts and house ninjas. Okay. What is an abolitionist? An abolitionist is a person who favors the abolition of a practice or institution, especially capital punishment or formerly slavery. Does anybody else have a different understanding of what an abolitionist is? What is an abolitionist? An abolitionist, as the name implies, is a person who sought to abolish slavery during the 19th century. More specifically, these individuals sought the immediate and full emancipation of all enslaved people. Abolitionist authors: Frederick Douglass, Okay. Harriet Beecher Stowe, William Floyd Garrison, Harriet Tubman. These are authors. These are authors. What is an author? Someone that writes and has things published, correct? John Brown, William Wells Brown, Sojourner Truth, Aluda Equano, Harriet Jacobs, Angelina Grimke, David Walker, John Stauffer, Francis Allen Watkins Harper, Solomon Northrop, even though they don't even have pictures, they just hand drawings. Mary Ann Shadd, Thomas Clarkson, William Steele, William Wilberforce, Lydia Maria Childs, Mary Prince, Henry David Thoreau, Martin Delaney. The list goes on and on and on and on. And do you know how many of them were Melanites? Let's count them. And I'm going to leave out the up to date ones. I'm going to just count the ones like these ones. These ones here. I'm going to just count these because these are all Melanites right there. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. That he might be. I can't tell. It's a drawing, but and she might be. They both look. So that's 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Let's see if she is. She looks biracial. Yes, she is. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 abolitionist authors. I have so many issues with that. Now, I asked y'all the question about slavery, right? How many documentaries have you seen where the slaves actually got away? There was a show called Underground where they ended up getting away, but you know what happened? There were genomes everywhere crawling on horseback and dogs. That's why they had barriers and they all communicated going back and forth, so they say. I really believe and I know that these things are fallacies. One, they weren't supposed to know how to read, but some of the house Negroes were taught by the genome children how to read. But how did they read that good enough to write these books and still escape without being killed? I want to make it make sense. I want to believe it. I do. I want to believe it. I want to believe it. They went through a portal. Okay. I mean, make it believable for me. I want to believe it because Frederick Douglass, Dr. Umar, is always very, 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 very adamant that is his long lost family member. Um, are we confused that Frederick Douglass was married to a genome? Even if you're looking at Jordan Peele and all of the work that Jordan Peele puts out right now, even us as Melanites, we are on an open web, what they call the information superhighway, and we're still being monitored. There are genomes crawling everywhere. She made 13. Let's do the math. No, stop. Stop. No, quit touching me. We're going to do the math. Because no. She made 13 trips. They said she freed 700 people. So that means that on each trip, she freed and had with her 233.3, meaning there's probably a baby in there somewhere. So we just going to say 234 people with her per trip 13 times. That's what you're telling me? That's what somebody telling me? Yehuda said last night that she spoke 3 different languages. So you're telling Quatita Dean, who was a scholar in high school, I wasn't top 1, I wasn't valedictorian, I wasn't in 13. I cut right at 100. And we had a very, very big class of over 200 children in my senior class. And I cut at 100 out of like 231. And let me be clear. I only cut 100 because, bitch, I was fucking and smoking and had a baby. I am highly the fuck intelligent. And none of this has ever sat right with me. But because we were told always that this is happening, you're supposed to honor this person, and we're so taught the respect, and we don't want to disrespect. I don't see my shamas, but I made them close. Look at this. Insecure. Anyway, so we're supposed to believe that she rounded up 234 people per trip because she freed 700, is what they said, right? 700. So she went and rounded up. So she cleared out, because had to be. So she cleared out 13 plantations. Because where did they all migrate from? Nobody was looking for these slaves. Because they were slaves, right? Nobody was looking for 234 slaves. And she put them on a ferry? She took them through the motherfucking the woods and the swamps? And she had enough herbs and medication to put, how many babies was in there? Because they said she put them to sleep. No, somebody got to make it make sense for me, because this is what we've been taught. Last night, Yehuda said that Nat Turner, he said, well, he was a hero, wasn't he? When I heard Dane Calloway break down Nat Turner, something stood out to me. I need to take my vitamins. Something stood out to me. He said that they presented him with this story of what he did, and he agreed to it. And he broke it down like this was an interrogation where they told him what he did and made him agree to it. And he was like convicted. So that in itself, I could see maybe because they said Nat Turner's not even his fucking name. Nobody has ever seen. Now, let me tell you something. How the fuck you know that Condoleezza Rice isn't Harriet Tubman? When I realized, because they even gave you Rosa Parks. Okay. Rosa was a real woman. Hold on. She was a real woman, but she was not the person that they said, because they said she was the first. They called her the mother of civil rights. How the fuck? So civil rights wasn't happening before Rosa Parks? The little 15-year-old girl who refused to give her seat to a white woman never existed. What was her name? Claudette? So she never existed. When I saw Marie Laveau, Marie hair is like, let me see if I can find hair that would resemble that. Yes. This is how her hair color looks to me, Marie Laveau. Her hair color looks like this. Okay. And she has a slender nose and then it comes out. She has high cheekbones and look like she has some kind of freckles on her face and she's very beautiful. She either wears her hair up in a bun with some curls coming down or it's wrapped up. I want to ask you something. And I'm not saying it is. I want you to just put some thought behind it though. I'm not saying that is Marie Laveau. I'm saying this lady looks like Marie Laveau. If her hair was red and she had freckles on her nose, she would look a lot like her to me. She would look a lot like her. Last night, Yehuda said that she's been around for a long time, that she's never passed, that she is a spirit walker. And then somebody asked me about Tituba. I've always heard that Marie Laveau and Tituba are the same person. I've heard that plenty of times. But I also know that Yehuda said that Harriet Tubman is the birth mother of Marie Laveau. And he said that the dates that were given for Harriet Tubman is not correct. And he said that she moved people. He didn't say slaves. He said she moved people and sold people. And she worked for the government, that she was a spy. And he said none of those dates are correct. He said that she bedded genomes and a genome warlock who was extremely powerful. And she procreated 3 children. He said 3, but he only showed me one, and one with the red hair and the face of Marie Laveau. And then he said, that is Marie Laveau, and that is her mother. That is what he said. Now, you can say what you want to say to me about it, but I know the track record of Simeon Yehuda. And I ain't seen him be wrong yet. I haven't seen him be wrong yet. He said all of those things were lies that we have been told and fed about. He said, you have to ask yourself, if she freed all of these slaves and they made her famous for it, that means she costed them money. She was never killed for it. She's been published, photographed. When have they ever done that? When have they ever done that? Then you have a voodoo priestess, Marie Laveau. And she is known worldwide. There's not almost one person you can say her name to that don't know who the fuck Marie Laveau is. And she became world known and famous. So when you look her up, it says that she did some voodoo. There was plenty of people in those days who did magic and voodoo. Why was she so famous? There's plenty of people. But why is she so famous? It's been said that Marie had a daughter named Marie Laveau II. There are many rumors that that is also Marie Laveau. But I'm just trying to understand, why is she so famous? And I love Marie. But I'm just trying to figure it out. I want somebody to make it make sense for me. She is famous for doing magic, but we were not allowed that. They're telling you Marie Laveau was born, in slavery times. They said she was born in the 1700s. Till 1801, I think, is some shit. Something like that. 18 something. So, I'm trying to understand. Genomes went to Marie to do spell work. Hey, real quick. What happened with the Salem witch trials? Oh. So they didn't let Genome, which is practice voodoo, because they burned and killed them at the stake. She was powerful. She absolutely existed. She still exists. She's powerful, but why? What gave her so much clout? For sure she's biracial because they've been told me that. I just didn't know who the fuck her parents were. So the Salem witch trials. Santa said, Shantae Saposi, Santa Muerte, said she didn't know that she was dead until Marie came to her. She said Marie Laveau came to her and told her, Santa, you've been dead for 3,000 years or so. Like, gave her a long time. Said she had no idea she was even dead. I'm just trying to understand. I want it all to make sense to me, because Marie Laveau was a freed woman that Genomes came to do spell work. But apparently, at the same time of her existence, there was an existence of Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner and all these other people who were trying to free themselves and over 700 slaves. Because you had to make it to the north in order to not be a slave. You had to get to the north. Yehuda says there were 8 districts. He never said they owned slaves. He said there were 8 districts that like or try to apprehend Melanites. Now, this is what stood out to me what Dane Holloway said. I think that's his name, Dane Cook. Maybe that's his name, the comedian Dane Cook. Dane Calloway. Calloway. This is what he said that stood out to me. He said, people believe that these people are tracing their ancestral bloodline. Like you're sending in your blood and they're telling you how much of this and how much of that and where your ancestry comes from and who your family was based off of your DNA. He said, are they bringing them like back? Are they going to get their DNA from their bodies? Like, how are they tracing that? Good ass motherfucking question. How are they telling you? How are they telling the genomes? How are they tracing? Because they didn't have DNA samples. They didn't have DNA samples then. As he's saying it, one thing stood out to me that made perfect sense to me. Well, they would for sure know who our lineage and ancestors was if they were keeping track of how they separated and put the deities to sleep. And the bloodline. Why are they always checking the blood? What is all of the blood about? Don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, but was that the day at the warlock that the Willie? He was for sure a warlock, but I don't know. Very well could be. None of the timeline makes sense. Why? Because even our timeline doesn't make sense. Because according to the spirit, we have been trapped here for over 2 billion years. If we're talking about frequency of time. How would they ever be able to trace some of the things? Now, I was writing a book at one point, and this was my question inside of the book that I questioned. They told you about all of the dinosaurs, right? They told you about all of the dinosaurs, and they told you what they look like. They told you what they ate, and that they did not speak, and all of these different things. And they told you how big they were, and about their skin and how it was scaly, and that there were no humans that roamed the earth at the same time. Oh, because I was crossing my eyes. I was doing this. Yeah. And they told you all of this shit off of their fossils. They found 6 fossils that turned into a complete Tyrannosaurus Rex. I mean, they have all. How many? Okay. Oh, okay, bitch. Wait. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me get you. Okay, you ready? How many dinosaurs were there in the world? The short answer is we know of about 900 valid dinosaur species that existed. 900 species of dinosaurs that existed. Okay. How many did we learn about? How many bones have they found? However, however, Don't they want to know what these are? See, these are giants. These are giant skeletal remains, giants. They're called the Anunnaki. They're giants. Do you see them little people next to the head? These are giant bones. They don't want to know what those are, who those were. Was y'all taught those in school? See, I've known about these for a very, 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 very long time, at least 10 years more. I know more than 10 years. I started learning about the Anunnaki when I was like 20 years old. I'm 43. But these is real bones. These are excavated bones. These are real. We don't want to know? They don't want to know? Let's look at this one. I always found this one very interesting. Now, we're not even talking about Kakusas. These are giant remains. Nobody wants to talk, and this is not just in one place. These are scattered throughout the world. They're being found. They were found. They keep telling us that technology is new. However, the Egyptians had light bulbs. Are you aware that Egyptians had light bulbs? There has always been airplane runways. And some of them were marked with X's, and some of them were marked with spiders. Some of them were marked with what we would consider like chimps pictures, depictions of them. And plumbing, absolutely. So now, looking at all of this, and there were plenty of people that said I made up all of the deities, that I made them all up, and I tried to use a real known Loa named Papa Candelo Serafe to bring forth and act like the rest was true. Now, I've told you that there's Mother Adina, the ruler of the galaxy, the soul, the connector. Okay? And then there's also Tetetron and Shoshone that much looks like Mother Adina. Mother Adina has what looks like a huge fro to me, but they're all very, very dark pigmented, not even like a dark black. It's like a dark black blue with gold sparks and flakes upon their body from the head all the way down. Everything looks like that, which looks like the cosmos, right? And then I told you that Yehuda is of the lion, feline, is shape shifting, okay, family. And we started to understand that there are multiples that come from different tribes, and they all look different, from mermaids. When I did shrooms, they kept taking me in front of this serpent lair. I was in this serpent's lair, and this lady was huge. She was half serpent, half woman. I've actually seen what we would reference as Dambella. He came in, he was huge. He was half serpent, half man. He was a Melanite. But they tell you that these things don't exist. There was a woman that I used to watch back in the day named Flora Byrne. I can never say her name. Flora Byrne. And last night or this rising, someone sent me a video of her, and I said, "Oh, that's Fleur. I've never seen this video of her." And I started watching it while I had a little procedure done today. I was watching it. Excuse me, and I started watching it on my way, and I was floored. What's the one thing that they always tell? You hear me? What's the one thing that they always tell us about Yehuda? What have I always said about Yehuda? What have you learned about Yehuda? That Yehuda is extremely loving. Everything about him is loving. And that he is the gateway. He is the gatekeeper. This video, I'm going to play it. It is very long, but we're going to play this shit. Because I believe people deserve to hear it. If you can partake in watching this, then stay tuned. Because I'm getting ready to play it. But I feel like everybody should hear what Fleur has to say. I'm floored by it. I am extremely floored by it. Looks like the Grand Canyon. Now, I've also talked about and spoke upon Krito Motwa, who is a Zulu shaman, right? I want you to just hear this. Somebody sent me this. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb so you ain't got to keep seeing my messages pop up. His name was Krito Motwa, and he is a Zulu shaman. And I used to watch him and David Icke in their interviews, which is where I got a lot of my understanding of the reptilians from, and the different lineages and families, and certain things about homosexuality and different things like that. And I said that's also how I found out about Arizona Wilder. But a lot of his videos have been removed from YouTube for whatever the fuck reason. I want you to understand that nothing that we know or have been taught is real. Why? Because we're in assimilation. We have been put to sleep, and they are controlling the frequency by controlling the masses. Nothing that we have been taught is real. This is Fleur.
Stop running on the treadmill every single day.
I'm going to see. Wait a minute.
I'm going to jump in this pool.
I'll jump in there, bitch.
Burn fat and get shredded.
I'm going to. Certified school. Hold on. She cracks me up the way she talks. So, hold on, because I want to set this up so y'all can also see it and not just hear it. I want you to be able to see it. I wonder if I put this over here with it. Okay. I'm trying to build it up for y'all. Okay. Now, I would suggest you screen record this shit because, if they take it off, there's a reason behind it. This is from 3 years ago. And I brought up the deities because she is going to break down some things. Stop playing. She's gonna break down some shit, and when she did, I said, "Oh shit!" She's talking about the deities.
I'm coming to you today with another topic of discussion. Check on in. It's an exciting discussion. So as you're checking in, I'm going to start.
This is Fleur.
Little connective. I think
I haven't seen her in years.
Hey, peace.
So for somebody to send me this, I have forgot all about Fleur.
Check on in. We'll get into this conversation, okay? For those checking in. So I'll start off. Big up to the east, the west, the north, and the south.
In old Africa, in African tradition,
I'm gonna go get me a banana downstairs and make me a smoothie.
Allowed to crush and dominate the woman.
Yeah, I think she's only on Patreon and stuff now.
In African tradition, a man was not allowed to act unilaterally in the family.
Can you hear it?
Everything he did, he had to do after having obtained his wife's fullest blessing and permission.
This is Credo Motwa.
According to the culture of all our people, the woman was regarded as spiritually greater than the man. Even the most of African kings used to consult their people on a major subject. When a king wanted to go out and make war against such and such a tribe, he didn't just assemble the warriors and lead them off into battle. No, not at all. He had to obtain the approval of the women folk of the tribe, and these women had the right to say no. Our people believed that before you leave your village with your spear in hand, old man, you must first consult your wife. An African marriage was not a union where the man was superior and where the woman was inferior. No. Let me tell you that in African tradition, you were not allowed to make love to your wife until you had made her ready for an hour. And before that, she had to give her consent. You were not allowed to impregnate your wife unless she was willing to receive your seed. You were not allowed to punish a child without having first talked with your wife. And the woman had the power to oppose you. An African traditional marriage was an equal partnership between the cattle keeping male and the grain planting female. The woman needed
Ma,
the
please
milk
get them out of here.
that the man's cows would give for her children. And the man
Gratitude,
needed
Nick.
the grain that the woman would plant. Sometimes the man was gone for several years. And when he did return, if he returned, he knew that his family was intact. And it was not force or intimidation that kept the woman in her home. It was her love for the man who was away.
Oh, we got thunder.
It was the woman who discovered, sometimes at great cost in lives,
Thank you, Donna.
which
Love you.
plants in
I
the bush
appreciate
were edible and which were not. Extending over many centuries, our women learned which plants
You don't have to, but I'll take
were
donations like her.
which were beneficial, which could be used as medicines, and which could be used as food. So the women earned the men's respect in Africa for these and many other reasons. This is one of two places which our people believe all life, all living things emerged from. Our people of all nations have known this place as the womb of the earth, or the vagina of the earth. In Africa, the woman was honored and respected. In Africa, the woman was actually worshipped. In Africa, the woman was actually honored by people of all tribes and nations. To this day, when we pray say to our ancestors, we always solicit most of all the blessings of our female ancestors. You must understand who you really are. You must understand how great you are. You must understand how great you once were.
I was gonna cry. I'm trying so hard. Big up to the sisterhood in the house. Big up to all the wonderful matriarchy that's coming back online. That video was for you to remind you of your mastery on earth, that the patriarchy that had taken over this planet wasn't native to it. That the suppression that has been occurring over the last couple of thousand years is unnatural. If you ever hear a male tell you about the past of how men stepped in, dominated women, it is a lie. So I wanted to give honor and credence to the sisterhood and the positive matriarchy that is now coming in home court advantage. Big up to all the sea stars in the house, big up to the sun stars who are in support of the matriarchy starting to establish itself in its native indigenous form. I wanted to give, many of you see the wonderful, beautiful lion being with wings. And many of you know I was in contact with a group of female Lyrians from the Bolsheviks, from Russia. 2017, I think it was March 25th. If you've never seen that video, you should see it. I'm actually in New York at my parents' house, and I had contact with the Lyrians at that point, which apparently I had been in contact for a long time.
Lyrians are the cat people, the felines like
You
Yehuda.
see me actually recollecting my contact with the beings that I didn't really consciously know existed. They were female Lyrians, which is an empress that coexists, that is actually now in home court advantage, allowing for the guardianship to protect as energies come through the portals. So big up to the sisterhood of the Lyrians, you beautiful cat-like beings. Wilshire had a wonderful crop circle. I don't know if many of you remember, in March, it's July 22nd of 2016. That is the crop circle that I show first down. It's in Fisbury Ring, first down, Wilshire in England. It's a beautiful crop circle. Actually, many of you were activated in the sisterhood when you were actually visually see it. So I asked for all of our wonderful brethren and sisters to go and take a look. I actually activated you by even having the thumbnail show that to you. Anyone who's in that frequency will be allotted. Now, this telecommunication is sponsored and requested by the Andromedans. Rarely do they ever get shown. You're going to get a treat, family, that only those in the conference got. I always kept a certain amount of anonymity when it came to the Andromeda that I'm in contact with, as we are now in home court advantage. Notice I said we aren't going to home court advantage. The sisterhood and the matriarchy is online now. And for that being said, we are now coming back into ourselves. We are being secured and procured by the energies that are frequently through the portals, with the Lyrians actually guarding. Big up to Barry Littleton, who actually was talking about the guardianship over when he was at the Isetti Ranch. Many of you saw his video. He was talking about the cat-like beings, the feline beings that are actually guarding those portals, disallowing and allowing those to come through that are only benevolent. Big up to him. Big up to the Nagas serpent line, who's heading the matriarchy of this next cycle. Big up to the Andromedans, who you know I am represented by all day, every day, crafted and built by these beautiful sea stars who are part of a civilization that exited itself through the last pole shift and made itself to the Andromedan star system, became accompanied through with a group of insectilians, which we know are like ant-like beings. Big up to RFG, who actually made a video in support of the ant beings, and I think he just knows the frequency of the Andromedans. Big up to the Merds, the aquatics that are now coming online. Listen, the sisterhood is here, and if the thunder didn't let you know during Credo, which was re-account of the matriarchy that was here. So when you hear men talk about polygamy, stepping on women, being dominating, that is a lie. That is a projection that was created by diabolical beings that weren't given of any sex, who came here and dominated.
Now, this made me understand all of the deities, why they all look different.
To talk about the female extraterrestrials that are here, I'm so excited. That was so empowering. If you just walked in the door, come and listen to this at the beginning. It's so empowering to the sisterhood. I think many of us are very have been very overwhelmed by being in such a couple of cycles of domination by an old Stoic system that was meant to teach us something about ourselves. And if it didn't teach you anything else, it can tell you that your strength, your fortitude is all within. And if you disallow others to create a sense of victimhood, you will very much do well in this next cycle. So big up to everybody in the house. Thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it. That was really kicked off with the 19999 is the end of the cycle. Kick on in. We've been talking about the many of the different facets of energies coming in. We got a portal. We got the Lion Gate open. So I'm so excited. Let me calm down. We got the Lion Gate bringing in the roar of the Lyrians. So big up to all the Leos in the house, you wonderful, masterful fire signs. I can appreciate the Leo energy, especially what you bring in that Lyrian. Big up to the Lyrian contactees and seated and energetic beings that are here holding down the field, making sure we're protected as we rise into our own feminine power and bring in the energies to help heal Mother Tiamat, who herself is a female. Big up to all of the Syrians, who are the beings that have been here for a long period of time, related to Sirius B, which are the mer beings, the aquatic beings, all you mermaids, you wonderful aquamen who are here holding into that water, that fluidity that is necessary in order to open up those portals. So as you hear the rains fall down, big up to Paola, who's right now still in Brazil, with all the waterways, a lot of rain coming on this planet, it's because portals are opening. We got the Lion Gate coming through, and you're going to feel a lot of empowerment. Now, what I will do is I'm going to actually show you with only those who were in the conference got a chance to see. I think, again, I didn't actually show anyone the actual person who's been cultivating me for years. I actually had an artist that actually did the work to make her exactly how she is. She is the Mayan mother that has been the cultivator.
Now this drawing she about to show reminds me of Marshall Lee's dream when she had the dream about the lady under the water.
So many of you who got to the conference, and as you know, conference time is coming about in October. And about 2 more weeks, you will actually have the actual dates and placement of the conference, which will be about the sisterhood and the connection to the extraterrestrials and regarding to the new upcoming matriarchy that is now coming online. Men are, you Sagittarius, you're welcome, because when we're in our full form, when we're feeling ourselves, we feeling you as well. If you're healthy, you can be down with the matriarchy as well. So I'm actually going to give you a bird's eye view of a wonderful illustration that took me a while to have done.
It's disrespectful to call anybody crazy.
Because this is the woman that has cultivated me. She is an extraterrestrial only by the nature that she was extradited. She and her group of Mayans actually entered into the inner earth and entered into the Andromedan star system. And now many of the Andromedans, if you know, the Andromedan star system is actually, we're getting closer to it. And that also allows for some of our sisters to come back to the planet. Those who made their exodus at the last pole ship are coming back during this time to hold down the energies of the sisterhood that's coming back into home court. So, no further ado, we'll start into the different tiers of sisterhoods, and I'll show you the wonderful illustration by one of the artists that Barry actually recommended me to. She's an intuitive artist. I wish Barry was on here. Barry can tell you. I know her name, Baby on the Brain. I'll mention her name again. I gave her a little bit of a hard time because I specifically told her, I know what this being is. It's not something in my head. This is a person that I've known my whole life. Again, she is the mark, and she's the empress of the Andromedan line. She is the mother of all those seated here from her particular kinship. So queenship. So I'm going to show you. It's beautiful. It's precisely as she is. No one has a picture because it is only mine. So if you see it on another platform, it's a lie because only I have the actual picture of her that was done.
But I have seen another picture that looks just like that.
She's actually quite beautiful. I don't know if you can see her. Can you see her? I don't know if this. Can you visually? I know I have a little bit of a reflection. Okay. Now, everyone, this is She doesn't have a name. You know, most people have a name of, you know, many of the ET groups that you're in contact with. She does not. Intuitively, she is what I consider to be my galactic mother. She is the one who grafted many of us Andromedans that are showing up here. As you see, she is still in many. She still upholds the same frequency and the vibration of the Andromedans from that particular time. If you notice that. She has here on her neck, which I did on Patreon. Actually, we were inoculated during the time, the Mayan times, of snakes. She is cousin to the Nega. This bloodline is actually cousins to the Nega Empress line of Shiva. We actually get inoculated by having different snake bites from different species of snakes, so that we are we are able to walk through the alignment of serpents without any sort of connection, without being poisoned. So she has probably hundreds of different inoculations, and many of people of color, when we get one of these little tinctures of, that's where you got a lot of your vaccinations were, from Central America. The concept from the indigenous was to inoculate yourself from things so it wouldn't affect you. She has this on her skin. We have keloids. I have it. Many of the Andromedans who are seated here, we have keloids. So when we get a pinch or a cut, it actually bulks up, and it actually is part of how you adorn yourself. It also details your ranking. So as many inoculations as you have when your skin is bumped up, it shows how many kingdoms or queendoms that you actually walk amongst untethered or unbothered. Also, if you notice, she has a pine cone, which you know many of the pine cone is a representation of the first eye. She always adorns her hair, and it goes by tiers and hierarchy. Her pine cones in her hair represent her hierarchy. So if you have the pine cones that are more the natural pine cones, the little pine cones that are natural and brown, that would make your tier be more of a soldier type of group.
Yeah, she calls herself
Silver is a higher group, and obviously she is one of the empresses of the matriarchy. So hers is always gold. Okay. On her head, you'll notice that she has the Mayan calendar on her headpiece. It's very, very important that you see that. Many of you know about the contact. I know I'm holding this up. Many of you know about the contact that I had. I'm trying to get this glare out for you. I don't know where the glare is. Okay, I can do it this way. Many of you know about the Mayan calendar, but what it really means. When I was in contact on one of the ships, one of the things I had was a clock on my forehead. They have this as a mark of time or non-time. It also is a testament of when they did their exodus at a time when they left and did their inner earth trek in order to balance. They knew during the shift that they would have to go inner. When they did, they went into the inner earth and they entered into a stargate, which allowed them to travel into the Andromedan star system. On her head, her headpiece of the feathers. This is a very tropical. It's one of the birds. I actually have the bird's name. I can't pronounce it. It's in ancient Mayan. It's a Mayan bird. It's a Central American bird. Also, it's seen in South America. These are the feathers that represent her ranking as well. Usually, you'll see of this ranking, and you'll notice in the Caribbean, those of the bloodline of the Maya, of this particular Andromedan, they usually have the Caribbeans, like in Jamaica and Trinidad. We always have the different feathers. That's some of the remnants of this particular galactic that is represented. Now, when the artist was doing her, around her arm, she represents, usually it's a snake on her arm. I don't think I had her do the copper. Usually they have the copper ring. She used this as a conduit when she was traveling. These are the cosmonauts that were caught on the dark side of the moon. We go into that when I talk about the concept of who's flying some of these ships. The dark side of the moon, which you have EBE, which you can see anywhere, which they've lied about. This is who was found and was not killed, was brought back to Earth, and she is still living. I've talked about her connection to the Andromedans and where she seeded her offspring, including many of the different generational Creoles and Latinos that go into Central South America and also into New Orleans. Many of the bloodlines are there. That's why they have such a connection to keeping some of their metaphysical paralysis, and that's why they're able to They created voodoo, Yoruba, Santeria. This was stimulated by being seeded by this particular group of Mayas. Okay, she's a master geneticist. Also, you see that she has her sacred geometry. What you don't know a lot of times is the reason why I always have sacred geometry on my body. It was something I learned from a little girl from her. Whenever I went somewhere, sometimes they would mark me, and many of you see I get forms of markings on my body, and this has to do with my connection to these sea stars. They always wear different molecular structured geometrical shapes that allow them to shapeshift and also for them to permeate into different timelines. Okay, she is always wearing a representation. This is one of the cocoa leaves, cocoa plants. This is a representation of the yoni, the stargate. Many of you hear me reference this all the time. It was very important for the artist to get that. This is how the Andromedans look. I think even when the artist did it, it was very difficult for her to create an image from Central and South America without the darker skin. I had to make her redo it. That's why I said I was really tough on her, because she didn't realize that the original Mayans were our complexion and darker. She is a copper color brown, and most of the Mayan of that empress, of that matriarchy, were all darker skin. The majority of them were all copper, dark, and chocolate brown. Okay, some of them even come very darker like carbon color. Okay, and again, these are cousins, they're kin to the matriarchy. She also wears the Nega serpent around her breasts as a testament of her warrior status. You'll see sometimes they wear these around their body, and they'll wear, like the plates on their breasts. Also, this is one of the ancient crystals that has been generated. It's very difficult for her. She is the only one who has this. And even when they, I think one of the Mayan temples spoke about this and had this on the wall. I had to make sure they got it properly, because when she comes in contact with me, she always has her staff. And I only know it's her when she has that particular crystal, which is connected to the selenite that many of us utilize sometimes for protection. What else? I think, okay. And obviously the rainbow. She represents the rainbow. And I think big up to Banji, who's one of our major artists who did our actual t-shirts for last year. The rainbow is represented by the Andromedans. That is their logo. I mean, if there's any logo, they represent the rainbow aspect, because whenever they permeate into different dimensions, you always see a rainbow. So I wanted to give you, finally, I wanted to give you the image of my sacred celestial mother, who's been cultivating me from a child. And I've talked about this a lot. You want to get a better understanding, I talk about it on Patreon much more in depth, but I wanted to talk about the sisterhood. She's been cultivating me. And even at the conference, some of the women that saw the actual picture of her had a remembrance of seeing her. So she is cultivating the sisterhood. They're much more behind the scenes as a warrioresses. They have zero sympathy for those who are allowing for the patriarchy to have any handle over us. They only respect those who are in basically a respect of themselves. They honor the warriorhood. They watch their sea stars go down. Many of the other sisters are put in arenas to fight, sometimes until their death. And that's how they see you gaining the status as being even part of their matriarchy. They were some of the fiercest women. Again, you see they're inoculated by many snakes. You can imagine if you weren't able to be to take on the inoculation of the snakes, you would die. So that shows you what kind of sea stars we're talking about. They would do that in order to vet out all of the weakest links. So that's why you see them not being apologetic or helpful or trying to hold your hand. They want to see what you are. They want to see where you are. They want to see if you're going to be bent over by the patriarchy and so simply overtaken or taken by that. Cousin to the kin of the Nega. We go into the Nega serpent line, which many of you know is the Anunnaki verse. Big into the Nega, who is represented strong. Remember, Queen of Sheba, who is actually a living empress right now. She's an empress that is now standing, and she actually holds her title to this day. She was hidden in Trinidad for many years as a hidden empress to protect her and to protect her crown. She is actually someone who is going from nation to nation, respected in Western, Southern, North, governmental systems, and they all see her as the active queen on this planet, the active empress. She is the third line of Sheba. If you don't, you see, some of you seen on my other page, I talk about Empress Sheba. She is the active Nega queen. Yes, she's born with white. Thank you, Oz. She's born. That's how you know you're part of the Nega line, is you're born with patches of white hair. White hair is an indication of how much royal blood you have in you. So you'll see brown babies or who are born with a patch of white hair or all. Queen Empress Sheba was born with all her hair white. It wasn't an indication of aging. It was an indication of how much of that bloodline was in you. Also, the Nega is also, whenever you capture them, they have a copper overglaze on their eyes. They are connected to the Serpent Queen, who's from Sirius as well. She has a very glazed eye, and that's also a quality of the actual Nega seated on this earth. So a lot of times, I think on Cypher, we shared tons of pictures initially. We talked about that. We also talked about the royal bloodlines in the Western nations that worshipped the Nega. That's why they used to wear powder on their hair and also wear their hair really high up, because the women of Nega had very high skulls, which was connected to some of the inner earth beings. So back in the 15th, 16th, 17th century, in when the royal families were more renowned, if you notice, the reason why they wore abundances to make their butts look bigger, they'd wear they're called tool underneath their skirt to make their butts bump out and to make their hair white but curly or braided it. They had been mimicking some of the royal Empress Sheba's bloodline that we're coming in contact with. So it became a fashion statement to wear their hair really, really white, almost like judges, like the judges in English times. And they had elongated skulls, and they would wear curly, because the Nega obviously had curly, thick, coily hair. So in that time, they used to wear their hair curly and coily and braided, mimicking that royal bloodline that they were in contact with, which you won't hear about in a lot of historical findings. But in some of the Vatican's books, and also in some of the books that are located in, I think, Italy, you will actually see pictures depicted of brown people with white hair that was naturally their hair, and buttocks is, very Afrocentric kind of buttocks. So that was actually. Oh, your daughter, Chandra, said her daughter has an inch of white hair. That's an indication of that Nega line. And the Nega line has been here for a long period of time. It's not necessarily been suppressed, but because we had to go through a cycle of patriarchy, which is every planet has cycles. So ours is more of like a penal planet. Big up to the penal planet. Me and Barry Littleton were talking about that today. It was like, the Earth is like penal planet 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what you'll hear about the Hebrew Israelites. A lot of people have the stories, parts of the stories of the Nega representation, which is, the original Jews. They talk about that. It's little bits and pieces that you'll hear sometimes when you hear about the Ethiopians and those from Sudan and Somalia. Those are the original tiers of the actual Nega. So they have the actual facial structure. In ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, you actually have the face of those who are from the Nega line. That's all from Empress Sheba's bloodline. Okay, that's the Nega. That's a serpent line. Okay, so we talked about that. Then we're going to go into the Bolsheviks. Big up to the beautiful Lyrians, you lion beings. Many of you noticed that I had traveled to Russia etherically, and I had my first conscious experience with the Lyrians. I didn't realize why I was in Russia, and I hadn't ever noticed why cats with a royal lineage of cat beings would have jeweled wings. It was the most beautiful, and I can remember it almost like it was yesterday. Walking into the waterways with a beautiful being that was reminiscent of a beautiful lion or a cat, and she had wings with jewels on it and the cape. And she walked around that way, and I never realized that the Lyrians in itself, why we have the actual the Sphinx, is a revered symbol of the Lyrians. And when I came upon this sea star, she knew me almost like she knew me as a child. We almost spoke like we had grown up together. It was a royal line, and I connect them to the Bolsheviks because that's what they were connected to, specifically the Bolsheviks, which I didn't have any ideology of what that was previous to having a meeting with her. And also there were other cat feline female beings that were actually bleaching their skin because they had patches because they were cats. So they were bleaching their skin so that they looked more humanoid when they walked amongst the human populace when I was walking. So it was interesting that I had contact with them, and the Russians have a big, huge connection to Lyrians, and not the only ones, but for some reason that beautiful empress which is one of the Lyrians, she is located in Eastern Europe, and she heads a group of Lyrians based in that region. So big up to the Lyrians who were in the house. Beautiful cat beings. I felt she was so amazing. And like I've always said with the Lyrians, I always had such a wonderful connection to that sect. Those people who used to have Lyrian groups, people who talked about their connection to the Lyrians. I always felt they were very loving, and it's very interesting. Big up to Barry Littleton. We had a whole conversation today.
Remind me when I seen you, who remember I said he had on a lavender and gold like robe type thing?
On Esseti, and over the mountain, it was known that there was a group of feline beings that were guardians over the portals there, and they were so loving that they couldn't come in contact with people of Earth because it would cause obviously a physical disruption, and they could cause damage to the Earth. And in order for them to disperse their love, their frequency that was more, it's for no better term, they consider like a love frequency, they would have to disperse of it sometimes on the outer bit because they're not used to being in a dense environment. So they would disperse of it, and that's where you get those illuminations above the mountains, like almost light illumination, because they have to almost like shedding, like a snake sheds her skin. It's the same thing with the Lyrians. They would have to expel some of this love frequency, and it would show up as light illumination above the beautiful mountain. So I always wanted to say, now I understood, because now, sometimes coming from the ET and contacted community, a lot of times it's a matter of trying to vet out truth and what is just imagination or exaggeration. It's a really slippery slope. So with me being a vetted researcher, I go by what I can vet out, and I also go by synchronicities, which allows me to really be able to see if something has validity and if it's integrity ridden. After talking to Barry, I realized every time I was going to these groups and just seeing Lyrian beings or people who were into the Lyrian groups, or those who consider themselves to be connected to the Lyrians, I always found a very loving energy. I didn't know this about the mountain because Barry just shared that with me today. I hadn't known what, and I think I've told you before, I was like, every time I go to these Lyrian groups, they're so much fun. I was like, if any ET group that you go to, I always found the Lyrian groups to be much more, even though they're a little, odd in the spectrum of the other groups, I always found them to be very interesting and very appealing because they were just so loving. So big up to the Lyrians. Big up to the Lyrians in the house. Now we get into the Mer family, the Mer, Mami Wata, Jemeja, the beautiful marine, the Aqua family. That's living in our Earth. They are connected to the realms of the etheric realms, and also they are allotted to travel inside and outside portals that are in our waterways. Right now, there's a host of people who are having dreams with the Mer family, connecting themselves back to their aquatic family. If you see that the diaspora of Africa is demonizing that connection to many of the Mer family, trying to demonize it and saying they're exorcising people from their marine ancestors, saying that they're demons and they're devils and they're trying to infect them. This is very much a lie. It's a psyop meant for you to disconnect or to demonize an aspect of yourself and your connection to your water kin. South Africa, parts of Australia, also in Brazil, are very connected to those water beings called the Mer family. They have had contact with them on the surface for years. Many of you from those regions are cousins, especially in South Africa, parts of the outskirts of Australia, and definitely in Brazil. That is why when I was in Brazil, they worship Jemeja. That is their thing. And you wonder why. It's because there's a heightened connection. Also, we have portals, open portals, where beings are interacting with their water families very openly and unapologetically. We have the Mer families that are now coming online, and some of the occurrences of places that are being flooded, almost like in the movie Aquaman, are coming from the diaspora of Mer. The Mer families, and I know there's a tier. The sisterhood, the matriarchies that I just stated are all in a healthy alliance at this point. Now listen to what I said. I said everyone that I mentioned, from the Syrians, the Illyrians, the Nega, the Maya Andromedans, and the Marine sect of Mers from specific areas, they are all in a galactic alliance at this point as the sisterhood comes online. You're going to start to see infighting amongst the sisters based on tiers, trying to build their hierarchies, because now everyone's trying to get to the top. There are many different lines of that showing up online. You're going to start to see that because you're going to see sects of each of these galactic groups showing up to actually establish themselves in a different hierarchy, because they are part of the alliance. So if you're feeling or having dreams about being in water, having feelings that you have fins when you swim, or you're starting to, grow gills, you know what I mean? Many of the marine life is actually connecting, as far as the Andromedans have let me know. Many of the aqua families that are connected to some of the land families as cousins, they're actually kin. Remember, many of us, all of us when we're in womb, we are reminiscent of a fish and a frog before we even become before we actually come into our more mammal state as we come on Earth. Okay, most of us were water before. That's why babies are in a huge sack of water, breathing cohesively fine, and that's how many of us, our origins started. When someone asked a question about the O positive, O negative, they said, what are the difference? I said, O positive are more connected to those lineages in the waterways. That's one of the things that I know, because they tend to have a lot of the same criteria in interwomb that's connected to many of the fish. Their genome is more matched to many of the fish in aqua life than O negative, the negative roots, okay? So for those connected and having those wonderful dreams about dreaming like you're breathing in the water, that's an indication, especially if you're swimming healthy in the water. If many of you are starting to remember certain places, faraway places, and it's always connected to water. I had, many times, you'll have, you'll have, visions of yourself being in water and being cohesive, and then being in very low water, and then being in very deep, thousands of deep, hundreds of feet deep, and it's something that you're remembering. The memories are coming back. For those who are kin to the aqua families, these memories will start to come online for you. And it doesn't mean that negative roots does not have a connection to the Mer family. It just means that genetically, there's more of a connection to those who are positive roots as opposed to negative. Remember, a negative root can be have a mother who's a positive root, or a father who's a positive root. So by the very nature of her coming from lineage that has that, obviously, she too, or he too, could have that. So if you're negative roots, don't think that you're not connected because I said it. I just said that positive roots is definitely connected to the aquatic families, more so than anyone else. But again, we're mixed with so many different type of beings on this planet. So you get a negative and positive roots that mate. If I have a baby by my negative mate and I'm a positive, the baby could still be connected to the aqua realm. So that being said, also many of you from the Nega serpent line, that's a very strong line now. You're starting to see your alliances in the African diaspora starting to hold shape. It may look like tyranny, but what's happening is that the reestablishment since the Anunnaki versions of the Nega have been landing in mass droves through stargates, almost like some of the movies that you see. They're starting to go into those specific nations, and that's why you're starting to see other beings being kicked out of those places. It's not a racial issue. It's about a reestablishment of certain species. So many of the draconians, insectilians that came and colonized parts of South Africa are being kicked back out, Nigeria as well, because they came and took over at the time when there wasn't a huge presence of the Nega. Now that the Nega is returning, many of the diaspora is starting to extradite people, and it may look by complexion, but it's more so by species. They want to isolate their own species to disallow for any more takeover of the colonizers that came with those specific ET groups. And some of those ET groups are connected to some of the interterrestrials that have been taken over. So that also is happening. So big ups to the Nega who's coming on there. Now, of course, my Andromedans is not last but least, but many of our beautiful Andromedan sea stars and the blood lineage, I talked about it. You can go back to the videos. I don't want to get specific. Our Empress was there was a crash on the dark side of the moon. A couple bodies were taken back. One was decapitated, one came back. I talked about the connection to Teachaba, who actually was the stimulus of the Wiccan sect. She was the Andromedan, the Maya, who came and illuminated. She wasn't a slave. She was actually there as a lover to one of the beings that was living in Salem. She had a lot of powers, and once people got wind of her, she dipped out. She wasn't killed. Teachaba wasn't killed. She just reestablished herself in another arena, and many of you may know her as, Marie Leveau. So, remember, just like vampires, a lot of the ETs supersede our age chronologically. They live for hundreds of years. So she wasn't killed. She just reassigned herself to another locale under another, other name. So many of her bloodline was seeded in the Caribbean, especially alongst the Haitian bloodline, into parts of Dominican Republic. She also seated herself somewhere in Cuba. She went over and extradited. Some of her bloodline, obviously, is in New Orleans. That's where you get that spike. Whenever you get a spike in magical paralysis or having supernatural abilities that come with heightened amount of, utilizing what you consider to be occult, that comes from the matriarchy or coming from the bloodline of that Mayan connection. So, big up to the Mayas.
The list is closed.
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, we talk about why the Mayan conversation
Gotta wait for it
online,
to reopen at a different time.
why the Andromedans are only spoken in terms of blue beings and other beings. The Mayan, the Andromedan star system is huge. It's like talking about the Milky Way.
So the blue beings, that sounds like
that there's only one type of
the
being
Avatar,
living
right?
in the Andromedan star system would be absurd. Okay, there's many different species of beings that touch or have lived or have lived in the Andromedan star system from other arenas or have been native to that star system. The Andromedans are not native. The Andromedan Mayas are not native. They came upon the Andromedan star system when they went through a stargate during the last pole shift. They're back. So for that reason, I always say they're native Earthlings that happen to galactically travel, and they are the cosmonauts. A lot of the cosmonauts that we're seeing in space aren't just males or grays, like they will detail it. They will always let you think it's a gray traveling in the starships. It is mostly female. Let me state this again. Females have a very unique quality and a heightened sense of intelligence by the nature of our body being able to create life.
Yeah, also I wanted to do an interview with him.
The massive amount of chemicals
That's kind of what started happening
allow
last night.
a being to be female.
There's a lot
Most
going on.
beings start off as female. So just to say that for them to get the idea that all the beings traveling are male or ambiguous, that is a lie, because they won't let you know that the majority of beings that they find are female. And a lot of these beings may.
I hear what she's saying about Techuba and Marie, but I believe that, but I also still believe Yehuda too, and I believe it all goes together.
In order to replicate themselves, like the Andromedans. During the original, during the ancient times when females were only on Earth, we were able to have children through the process.
I've spoken about this too. I wrote about this in my book. Who?
There are some females now with the feminine energy coming in, starting to be able to replicate themselves at this point in reference now. It isn't a lie. I couldn't make it up. You'll have, some of the pseudo-conscious males saying, "Oh, that's impossible." Go look it up. I couldn't even make that up. There are women now giving birth to themselves, and when you give birth to yourself, you can only give birth to females. So by the very nature of a woman giving birth through the process of parthenogenesis, you will only give birth to a female. That's why the planet was so
about
female,
this.
because there
that
were
was
males.
found
and remember,
by
even the nature
Jacques
of a male is
Loeb,
an X with the leg that's
a
missing.
scientist.
So there is no such thing as a Y. There's only an X with a broken leg. So that's genetics 101. So if you want to kind of go into the prospect, you can always research these things. I say, I only come to you with what I know to be facts at a particular time, especially when I'm not adamant on something. So we have the matriarchy coming back online, my beautiful sea stars. If you did not get a chance to listen to the beginning of the video when we talked about Credo Mutua, you know, we have a lot of these very negative beings that are here on Earth that are now being extradited or being held accountable for crimes against humanity. We have many wars going underneath the Earth and above your head. Many of the explosions and many of the earthquakes some are natural, but some are supernatural. And then there are others that are based on sonic weaponry that is beaching whales, that is leaving aquatic life beached on land. And also a lot of these facilities are being blown apart underneath our feet. We have a war happening, and we have already won, Sea Stars. The only thing that you have to do is hold your integrity and hold your light. There isn't anybody who should be dominating you at this point, especially from the patriarchal set. You have everything you require in order to be successful on this planet during our next cycle, which is home court advantage of the matriarchy. So it's a beautiful time on this planet. And now, let me say that our
I do not know this person. I don't know why the fuck they keep calling me.
Males, our sun stars. You aren't absent from this. We require you in the most amazing ways. We desire you, we respect you, and we need you to be in alignment with this healthy reestablishment of feminine energy that is resurfacing on planet Earth. We love you. Hold on. And some of the female matriarchy saying, don't do it. We love you and require you, and we need you to be healthy. A lot of our males are going through it right now.
Yes, men are.
And wow. Let me have a cherry. Hold on. I've got my cherries back. I got mangoes. Hold on. I need a cherry to fix me. Hold on. For all those who hate when I eat online, for all those who don't like when I eat, look. I had to choke on what I'm saying. I said I had to choke on. At least I'm eating cherries. I love my cherries. I tried to avoid buying cherries today. It was so hard because I crave them. I love cherry season, and you know, cherry season's only for like 2 more weeks, if that. So enjoy your cherries. The whole show will be majority water. You say why the Murph families matter? Because the entire Earth will be mostly covered by water, like its original form. You know, you will see the reestablishment of Egypt going from being a blasted, radioactive, sandy desert to being back to its tropical form. We're going back to a healthy homeostasis and a healthy, we're going back to water. And because of that, we're having a reestablishment, a healthy liaison that will help to build, protect, and reestablish a healthy matriarchy in this earth. Men are going through it right now. Many of our sun stars. Oh, thank you, Hunter. It's your birthday today. Oh, it's your birthday. It's your birthday. Big Daddy. Big Daddy-ish. Uh-oh.
I need to put my
Are you part
glasses
of the
on.
healthy part of the sun star? Are you down with the healthy matriarchy? You too, Hunter. Will feel grand during this time. Many hydrogen-based. Many of us are feeling a certain way too. Also, I have some intel about the Murph families, about the feet. Big up to the Sea Star. Who is the Sea Star? Are you on here? Enjoy yourself, Hunter. I hope you have an amazing birthday. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Big up to Hunter. Who is the Sea Star who connected? Because, feet are connected to Pisces. Pisces is the fish, okay? So, are we going back to Pangea? In a kind of sort of way, we're not returning. Everything is new, okay? But everything is recycled. So, yes, to a kind of sort of way, we're going back to a more of like a water world where we have healthy liaison between our Murph families, our elementals, and the earth, a very healthy homeostasis. That's why we're getting all this rain all over the planet. I didn't realize it until I had a question and it was answered that the planet has to return to our healthy aquatic state, very reminiscent to her ancient times, Also, the feet. So a lot of us were having issues. Well, I was having issue with feet, and I was asking everybody on IG. Big up to IG. I think it was IG. One of the Sea Stars said, well, the feet are connected to Pisces. And Pisces, remember the feet? It is. Feet are reminiscent of Pisces. And a lot of you I asked the question on IG because I was like, are people having issues with their feet? And a lot of people said, yeah, my feet are hurting out of the blue, going numbing and so on. I was like, that's something weird. It's been happening for a while. I realized that some of the bloodlines of the aquatics are getting feet issue because they have a connection to remembering. It's almost like they're remembering their physical form, and they're becoming heavier on Earth because they're really aquatics. So the gravitational pull is it's almost like reactivating some of their latent cellular memories. And them feet hurting badly. See, a lot of people are saying it. Your knees are pounding lately. It's all the feet and knees. And this is a connection to almost like your cell body remembering, or we might be returning to the water. So this might even be us, the change in, maybe there's a reason why we lived in the water and we didn't live on land. When the gravitational pull changed after the pole shift, when it became more land as opposed to water, maybe we were able to walk on land. Now, because the gravitational pull is changing, and also we're starting to go from the age of age of Pisces, which is, belief system, we're starting to return to the age of Aquarius. Now, even though Aquarius is represented by air, what is she doing? She's pouring water on, she has a ladle and she's pouring water. That is reminiscent to the time. So I think maybe some of us might be returning back to our aquatic state. We might start living more in water. So I have a feeling that our legs are starting to remember, almost like we're starting to get a pull to going back to the way that we originally looked or were genetically. I haven't vetted that out. I'm just thinking because the young lady said something about the connection to Pisces and the feet. And I thought a lot of people's knees, feet, and ankles are hurting. And I haven't had that. I only had that when I was, when I gained weight. My ankles, my feet know it. when I get a little heavy. And also, if you notice, they're moving us away from the coastline. You know what, family? I just found something out. Listen, they're moving us away from the coastline. So maybe because they're moving us away from the waterways, because maybe cellularly we might start remembering who we are. They're moving us away from the water. They're having all these shark attacks. They're like moving the fish. There's a lot of things going on where they don't want you to be next to the ocean. And maybe this is on purpose. Thank you, Cypher. I think this is on purpose. Maybe a lot of us may be remembering who we are, and they don't want that. Even here, remember last year we had the red mold algae alert, the red thing, and nobody could go to the beach in Florida. And then this year was some white bacteria, and then the shark attacks over in South Carolina, and then the beach whales. Maybe they're pushing us. They're trying to deter us from remembering or having access to it, because you're remembering everything about yourself. So I think they're pushing us away the psyop, Hayden. I think family, you can kind of listen. Tell me at Spike Drinks, so let me know if you think this, because we're kind of like, we're bouncing off of each other. And I love that you're on here, because I'm thinking that we're on the same wave. Because for the last couple of years, like a year or two now, they've been pushing us away from the beaches. You tell people there's sharks in the beach, now they're not going to the beach anymore. Then all these videos on FB, you see how they always have their psyop, their agenda, all these videos on FB showing sharks going inside cages and nearly killing people. They're trying to put fear in us. And did you see the movie? This movie, I won't go see it, but some of you did, about Florida going underwater. Did you see that? And then he showed alligators and they're trying to put fear in us. I think it's personally because they want us to keep away from our mer connection. So, family, if you guys can vet that out, because I really feel poisoning the water. There's a lot going on with them trying to disconnect us. Crawl. Yasha got it. Thank you, Yasha. Yasha said crawl. I think there's a lot of things going tectonic plate-wise, which causing there's a natural thing going on underwater. Fukushima radiation is still in all coastal regions. Thank you, Daryl. Daryl just gave us that. That's right. We can't forget about Fukushima. Crawl was a bad movie. Star Wars. So, the flesh-eating bacteria is still in the water as well. They're dirtying our waterways. They don't want us returning, because I think you can't tell me that all of a sudden, we all have feet problems. I live in Florida. I had it when I was in Brazil. Then you have other people from different regions. We got people from Detroit. We have people from Canada. We have people in England. We have people in Norway. We have people in South Africa. How are all our feet hurting at the same time? You can say, oh, it's chance. But what are the chances that all of a sudden we're having issues? And I said to myself when I was in Brazil, there's something going on with the gravitational pull. And again, if we take a little bit of, if we start to go in our scientific mind, what would be the reason that marine life started to live on land? Maybe there was less water and the gravitational pull wasn't as heavy, so we could walk on land a little easier. Maybe the gravitational pull, because we're going back to water, maybe we have to return back to our aquatic state because the gravitational pull is pushing us down, making us heavier, making it more likely. Remember, when you're in water, you ever taught Zumba aquatics? When you go into the waterways, when you go into the waterways and, when you go and do your stretches for people who have arthritis, you go into waterways. It takes all the pressure off your joints. That's probably what it is. We're returning back to our physical form that was most likely in the water based on the gravitational pull, and we're shifting. We need to research that. You guys do some research on that, because I'll go all over the place. Wait, oh sister, I'm a certified scuba diver. The continental shelf in the Bahamas looks like the Grand Canyon. What? Keith, what'd you say? It looks like the Grand Canyon? What, it's all gone? Wait, the Bahamas looks like the Grand Canyon. Certified scuba, the continental shelf in the Bahamas. Do you mean the water's gone? Or is it more? Or it looks like a canyon inside of it? That's interesting. Okay, I want to hear more about that. Hold on, family. We have someone who's in the waterways. Ocean underneath them. Oh, okay. Ring up. Go. And did you also hear, okay, we're going to get detail. Hold on, family. Let me know what he says in here. Or it's deep. Okay, it's deep. I got to wait until his feed comes back up. That's really good intel. Also, we also heard on the coast the other night when they deleted my IG, bastards. He said it's underwater. Oh, it's underwater. Interesting. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you. It's underwater. And then, family, I forgot to tell you, when I was flying from Brazil to here, I flew from Brasilia directly to Orlando. Do you know how many sandbars I was seeing in the middle of the ocean when I'm flying from Brazil through the Caribbean? Like, I think we were somewhere around Dominican Republic. I've never seen that. So family from DR, can anyone from DR, and they kept stopping in DR, which people on the plane were like, why are you stopping in DR? That was a little questionable. I was on GOL Airlines. Can anyone who lives in DR, Dominican Republic, or Haiti, can you confirm that you have tons of sandbars? Sandbars are when you have pockets of like little islands that pop up. We get them here in Florida, but I hadn't seen, I was seeing like every second there was more sandbars, and I've never seen that before. And I've traveled. Maybe it's something I haven't seen because maybe the direction we're flying in, but if anybody's ever seen that, please pay attention to that, because it means the waterways are already moving based on the gravitational pull being different. The removal of the ocean Lemuria, the motherland will rise again. We are getting a reestablishment of waterways in certain areas and it being pulled from other arenas. That's part of the pole shift as well. I think that's somewhat part of a natural phenomenon. Your legs have been getting cramps. Okay, Deshaw said the same thing. Can I ask you a question? Since we have 377 people, would you mind? Okay, let me sidebar. 376 people in here. Do you mind putting a like? Because they've been doing questionnaires in my video and they're making it seem like they're going to take me off YouTube if I don't have a certain establishment of likes. I don't know why that was the case, but I talked to someone, they were like, they're trying to do surveys on people who are talking about subjects like magic, occult, intel, and they're trying to take them off. So I asked that if you come in, you let them know that this content is something you want to talk about, and you keep those who are discussing these topics afloat, because they're doing they're trying to stop the information flowing and for us having interconnection. So if you come in, please, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so family, I'm going to ask you a question, and everyone, whose feet, if anyone had over the last month, feet or knees or legs hurting them, that's abnormal. Okay, Awakening Soul says yes. Please put a one. If you've had feet issues over the last month or so, that's odd. Put a 1 so we can see how many, because everybody's from different regions. Just put a 1. Let me see how many people. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. That's crazy. Do you see this? Do you see this? Oh shoot. Oh my God. Okay, family. We've got Houston. We have an issue here. Look at this. Look at the ones. Oh my. Wow. Okay. We have this documented. Someone please save this, because I want everyone to see this right now. Everyone is having issues with and these are everyone here on this site. Everyone we know here is from different countries. We're not all from the same region. This is crazy. Swollen feet. I want to get, oh my gosh, the knees. Listen, family, we have an issue. I think the gravitational pull has changed, and no one's talking about it. Do we have a podiatrist on here? We need one of our own. We need, until one changed my diet based. Okay. I had feet issues. Okay. Feet tingling. Okay. Yes. Australia. Wow. Bunions. Pisces, your knees. This is crazy. Feet different. All right. So we're having a lot of people with leg and feet issues right now. This isn't normal. My feet have been like this for over a month, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" So when I went to the thing, I was saying to the foot person, I was like, I don't know what's going on. My feet never did this before. England, we have people from England, Australia, we have people from all places are having feet issues, swollen feet, left feet, pain, numbing in the feet, leg cramps. There's something that has to do with, I would put my money on it. We have a gravitational shift, and they're not telling us. It's affecting our bodies. There's something to that, and they're pulling us away from the waterways. Iceland, 1. Look at this. We have places as far as Iceland getting this. Now, does anyone, okay, lower back. We're getting a lot of lower lumbar. Yes. There's something going on. Japan, we have a lot of people from different areas getting the same. Southern California, they're giving the places. These are all the places that are getting it. Legs falling asleep. This is why we have to talk to one another, because they're not going to tell us. We won't know until the precipice of something popping off. 1. Look at this. England, California, Arkansas. Look at all the places. Atlanta, Memphis. They're all getting it. Los Angeles. How are we all getting the same symptoms? Maryland. This is crazy. We're talking about the sisterhood. Philly, Toronto. How are we getting all the same symptoms on our feet? Detroit, Phoenix, Las Vegas, feeling off Pendergrass, Georgia. Look at this. Massachusetts. This is crazy. Chicago, Connecticut, Michigan, Texas, Tennessee, New York, Lisbon, Seattle, Washington, Detroit, Nebraska, New York, PA, Philly, Long Island, New Jersey, North Carolina, Maryland, Cali, New Zealand, Ohio, Dallas, London, Jersey, Massachusetts, Australia, Montana, New Mexico. Look at this. All of these people are having feet in Ontario, Canada, Nashville, Virginia, Australia, England, Birmingham, North Carolina, Tasmania, Hawaii, Romania, New Orleans, Georgia, Minnesota, Virginia, Maryland, Virginia, Australia. This is, okay, family. And you think, sometimes I know you think I go a little off. I know you do. Texas is in the house. Texas, I normally am great at vetting this out. This is crazy. We have something going on, and this is a good sample population right here. You can't tell me that we have all these people all over and we're all getting the same symptoms. My feet never felt like this, ever. And the only thing that relieved my feet is when I was in Brazil, when I was in the water. I was in the beach. When me and Paola on the beach, Boston, Las Vegas, Massachusetts. When we were in the beach, my feet felt relaxed. I almost felt like I was getting healed. They don't want us in the water. This is freaking crazy. This is crazy. I'm getting excited. Hold on, family. Hold on, let me change. Wait, let me have a cherry. I can't sleep at night either. We're getting phenomenon for the pole shift. You know, the geometrical, first of all, the magnetic field shifting like that causes problems. I almost feel like everything's so heavy on my feet. I almost want my feet up. I want to be in the water. I want to be in the ocean with my aquatic family. These bastards. They're trying to keep us away from our family. I can't sleep. My little girls can't sleep. We all are staying up until late. Are you guys also staying up late? Oh, shoot. What the heck is going on? We, doctors... We don't sleep at night. Look at this. So we're not sleeping and our feet are hurting? What the heck is going on? Oh, snap. Listen, I hope they don't delete this. Somebody save this. Please, somebody save this. Somebody said that may be diabetes. Not everybody God Intel has diabetes on here. Not everybody God Intel said diabetes. Yes, it's one of the diabetes things, but that's not everybody with diabetes. Not everybody is on here as diabetes. That's crazy. You get a sample population of different people, different weight sizes, different sugar intake. People are vegans, people are meat eaters. You're not going to get a whole bunch of, maybe one or two. But yeah, that's not the case. Zero diabetes.
There's like 40 minutes left on that. If you want to continue to watch that, that is Fleur Braun. You can go to her channel. Let me go ahead and subscribe again to her channel. This is called Female Extraterrestrial Monarchy. I'm going to take a nap before the show tonight. Make sure you come back for Let's Have the Conversation. We're going to have the conversation about some stuff. And so, very, very interesting. And I told them I was going to play this so everybody can see it. And I'll be back to talk to y'all on Let's Have a Conversation. And after that, we might be able to go ahead and get some of these list readings in. That would be amazing, so I can knock that list down. And see what else. Hey, gratitude. They be trying it, boy. They try it always. I wish they go get them some and some business too. Anyway, I see y'all here shortly, okay? I hope y'all enjoyed that. Gratitude.